going down that walk all that way with the that's last year. I lost this year, huh?
Hello, upward and onwards here. Now, as the video title might describe a lot better than what I'll say, I'm going to do a bit of ballasting, as it were, but it's just going to be for a piece of display track, like this piece here. Whereas this was just used as a test, where I just, well, had some crushed coal, an odd bit of timber lying around. I didn't bother painting over it. Just nailed the track on, gave it the coal, glued it, done. I'm going to be a bit more professional with this one, as it's quite a bit longer, meaning I can have either longer locomotives or actual display consist on here. But as you can notice, I think on the screen, there's a bit of a depth difference here. Now, there's a reason why I want it like this. First of all, so I can have the edge of the ties literally sitting on where it's painted. That way there's a bit of a depth thing going on. And also, when it comes to doing that, water glue mix to hold the ballast down, well, it gives the ballast, and also the fact that the ballast will be able to go under the ties as well, like they would in the real life. So I'm pretty much trying to replicate what they do for the real railways. Ballast around the sleepers as well as under them. Now, what I'm doing here is just painting along the edge. Well, full sides here, but just along the edge at the front here. Just giving it a bit of a earthy green type color. Now, for that, I'll just show off another tip. I'm just using good old homebrew acrylic. RC410, as it says on the gel lid, which looks a bit like a military green to me, but heck, it actually is quite an earthy green, which is why the armies use it, I guess. But now, I'm not giving a darn about brush strokes or anything like that, because this bit of test track here, well, not test track, display track, I should say, is actually to help me build my confidence up. So when it comes to doing the whole layout, as well as the micro layout, I'll have the confidence knowing I can do it. Now, painting this might take a bit of time, so what I'm going to do is set the camera for what's on it called hyperlapse, which really, speeds up the time frame. So, back in a tick. Right, there we go. Now, actually, I have taken into account the length of this thing when doing the track. And just like this display, this test bit here, I'm literally going to have the rails reach the end of the wood. That way it kind of looks like it's chopped off a scene or something like that. Now, the one thing I like about Hornbill's acrylic is its water base. Meaning, if I get some on my hands, it is dead easy to clean off. Especially if you get it on your shirts. Because, yeah, no one likes to wash paint off their shirts. Now, I'll leave that to soak in there for a bit. But, yeah. What we have here, and waiting to dry, is the painted product. And if I just lift it up and move it out of the way a bit, under it, we have the track for it. Now this is actually a sectional Hornby track with a bit of Pico Flexi attached at the end, just to add that length. Now what I did was, because there were so many gaps to fill with sleepers, was, well, I just super glued them in. Quite dead simple, dirt cheap. And well, if you can do it for, well, less than 10 cents or something like, or 10 pence or whatever currency it is, do it. Now, when it comes to the ballasting, I'll be using a ballaster that I have somewhere. Oh, just behind the white screen here. This 3D printed ballaster I have. Now, I actually did use it on that coal line piece, and it works pretty well. I think the coal might have been a bit rough, because the holes, they do look like they're for fine grade stuff. But, yeah, I'm sure I can work my way around that. But, yeah. Another thing is, once I get this all built up, you know, of the track and that, and I get the ballast on, naturally I'm going to want a bit of a shoulder for the ballast. How I'm going to do that, I figure, and this is a very, very odd idea to do, is I have some old rail lying around. Just bend it as straight as I can, or at least till I get something, you know, organic looking. I have it pretty much alongside the rails, which will sit like that. Which, that's actually a perfect fit. Wow, not bad. And I'll just have this sitting like that, sort of like that, next to it. That way, it gives a fair-sized ballast shoulder. But we'll see how it turns out. Till then, I'm gonna let this stuff dry properly. Because since I haven't used acrylic paint in a while, I forgot exactly how long it takes to dry. But I figure if I put it out on the window edge, where it's nice warm sunlight, it'll dry pretty quick. Another thing I'm currently working on, among other projects, but if I can get this wee display bit done right, I know that I'll be looking good in the future when it comes to ballasting and detailing track. And I don't think anyone else has bothered to, you know, just do a test slab before they do the layout. Because I still got to put underlay underneath all this track here first. But yeah, And I think I might as well end the video here and now before it gets a bit long-winded. And if it already has, whoops. But thank you very much for watching. This is Upwell and Onwards, saying see ya. Right, yeah, now we're back. And we're back to ballasting. This stuff is actually fully dried now. I've added little end barriers so that way I can get a nice clean edge in the ballast. Got my ballast spreader here, and I had to work the holes a bit to make them a bit wider. But it should still be good. Got a cup to pour the ballast in, and well, I got the ballast itself. Now, actually I bought the ballast from the local model shop. It's by St. Textures, and originally it was the wrong grade, I admit. I accidentally got the wrong scale, but oh, can't argue. Alright. Now, I don't doubt I'll need this much, but it's best to have a good supply in. Just checking how the ballast will run over this. Okay. Pretty much straightforward, zip zap, done. And if you're wondering what's with the tissue paper, it's for when I spray the stuff. I don't want water going all over the layout. That's a bit of crap. Okay, ballast is full up. And it's clogged up, great. Okay, it sucks that it clogged up on me. Great. Guess it means I have to do this the old-fashioned way. With an old broken spring handle. Wish I had a brush on hand. Because I forgot this is quite messy. Okay, it's not a bad start, but we can do better. Proper full spring. Because I forgot there's a bit of a, well, I guess we can call it a channel in this ballast. Makes spraying it out a bit more interesting. Alright. I'm just trying to spread this in nicely so it gets in there good. Now you're wondering what's with the hammer taps. Now that's actually an old trick I learned. A real old trick I learned. It actually helps get the ballast into place a bit better. Okay, this is clearly going to take a fair bit of time, so I'm going to hyperlapse it. Right, I decided to skip the whole hyperlapse because this is very time consuming. And now you just see me putting the finishing touches on the ballast edge. Making sure the ballast is a good shoulder. And trying to make sure it actually looks like it's something that happens by machine, not by the old hand of God. Now, one of the oldest ways to make sure it's a good sinking for the ballast, really, what I find is you have a paintbrush, hold it like this, and you just tap the rails. Now you don't give it a good wallop, but you make sure that's enough to just shake the ballast a bit to get in the grooves. Right, now get that out of the way. Now we wet it a bit. Just as soon as I remember where I put the glue, I'll find it in the tick. Ah, here we are. Alright, that's nicely soaked. Now for the fun bit, the glue. Now what's in here is already a concentrated mix. It's not straight up glue, so just get the center done first. Now because it's a channel under the rails, it will actually help distribute the glue. It only bothers the stinking bubbles you get. There we are. Now the glue may wander a bit, as it does. All I'm doing is just, seams of the stuff, not big dollops. Well, trying to anyway. Now, sounds like the cat's in. Now just one last stream along the rails. There. Both ends should be, well, both the sides and the middle should now be saturated with glue. And just going to give these sides a quick push. Lift up, see what we have. No mess. Good. Now, I actually have a dry example of what I tried before, but I used my homemade coal work ballast, and that's what we have. Pretty good example, I think, if you don't mind tissue paper. But yeah, it's quite nice to my desire. I like it. But some of the coal in it's a bit loose, so I'll just give it a quick coat of this stuff. And one of the effects I actually used on this was I actually grabbed a marker pen and just ran it along in between the sleeper, in between the rails, along the sleepers and coal and that, and it does actually give a rather nice oil spill effect. Just simply grab your marker, any old whiteboard marker or permanent marker, and yeah, just sort of make it look like a trail of oil. Looks rather nice. Now I'll actually put these both away to dry, but I hope this actually shows what it's like to do ballasting, and I hope to have fun doing it in the future. This is Upwell and Onward saying thank you.